Yeah, I know this thing is not a real priority, but figured I'd take it off before it falls off. It's sketchy and noisy. And when I'm diagnosing problems on this thing, I think I'd probably prefer not to have any extra noises. Yeah. Alright. Beauty. Had to switch to the Sawzall. The grinder was not cutting it in this case. Alrighty. I'll use the grinder to clean up those edges. Other than that, that shouldn't be too bad. And that'll cut back on the rattling and stuff. It was just one extra thing making noise on this that I absolutely did not need. Because there's like 5,000 other things that I'm gonna have to deal with, and any extra noise isn't gonna be super handy. The biggest problem being the electrical system. We got a little bit of interesting bodgery going on here. You have to cut the battery off up in the front of the truck, turn the ignition key on, and then push the starter button down to start it. I don't know what this button here is. I thought maybe it was a like for glow plugs, but when I press it, it doesn't seem to do anything at all. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to try and track that back a little bit, figure out some of the other things, see if it's charging at all, because I noticed that up on the dash. Let me show you what that is. So Dodges of this vintage used to have real problems with their electrical systems. Some surprise there. So what people would do sometimes is, install one of these voltage regulators, because when the computers went underneath the dash, what ended up happening is you no longer charged your battery, you lost all your gauges, and the whole 9 yards. So this truck has lost all its gauges. And I can only assume that because they purchased this, that there must have been a reason for that. And usually that's for people to do the conversion to a separate charging system. And then I also found this. And then this was in the truck. So I'm thinking that there was probably something going on, and he was dealing with it. So I'm probably going to deal with it in the same way that he was dealing with it, and just put this thing in so that you can use the alternator to charge the battery, put it on a switch so it doesn't keep the field hot all the time and drain your battery. But I think the outboard voltage regulator is going to be way better than trying to use the one that may or may not still be in the truck. But yeah, whenever you find extra parts like that, you know somebody was dealing with something interesting. So we got this little setup here, which I assume is designed to power something. I'm going to assume that this is going to be a ground, and then this is going to be a hot, and you're supposed to hook it up to your battery. Oh yeah, I did the bodgy screw. The terminal on this battery wasn't quite up to size, and it was giving me a bad ground. And there's a lot of stuff on here. So it needed, well, not a ground, rather, a hot. It needed some signal getting through, that's for sure. So it's got this cutoff on here, and then the cutoff basically cuts the power, because I think because the electrical system's a little sketch, that's why they put that on there. So let's see here. Let's spin this over. And turn my key on. Now this is a cold start a day later. So yesterday I had this thing fired up, and today I fired it up, and here we go. So basically I think the engine temp gauge works, don't think the charging system light thing works at all. Yeah, see, there's another bolt gauge here. And I'm not. Well, I'll have to check that to see if that's actually doing anything. Okay, hold on. What's this? Let's see what that is. If that did anything. Nope. See if I can see if that'll do anything. Nice. So yeah, it's got a light. No tail lights. Doesn't look like directional, but let's see. No. And that'll be one more thing to figure out. So I don't really know what that does. Don't know what that does. But as you can hear, it runs good. No major leaks that I can see. I'm gonna have to check out the alternator though. Hey! Hi Ted. How you doing, buddy? That's it. So at least I'm just going to keep disconnecting that because I assume the key thing isn't working properly. Oh yeah. And here's one of the many other things I'll have to kind of deal with because I think that may not be great.